All right, so third time's a charm, maybe. So yeah, Prism really does suck. Keeps crashing. I was buffering it and it crashed. So check out what I got. I had to get something, right? Couldn't be a complete wasted trip. So this is what I got. It's a microprocessor driven system. Now listen to this. Listen to this propaganda. So it's a 6 amp battery charger, okay? But microprocessor driven system provides protection against reverse polarity. So I guess if you are a moron, you can't figure out how to hook up your battery charger. Overcharging, short circuit, and overheating. Yeah, okay. So what is it going to do? Can it tell if the internal resistance of the battery is changing? Because that's the only thing about overheating, because there's no temperature probe. So it's got to be measuring the internal resistance of the battery. So this is why I got this. Plus I get ag exemption at Tractor Supply. So all I have to do is just give them my phone number, and I don't pay tax on it because of the farm. So that's another reason why I got it here, because it's less expensive. I can't get ag exemption at China Mart, where they sell these kind of same version of this, but the this is why I got it. It's got 2 amp, 4 amp, and 6 amp. So I'm going to put this on my bigger battery bank to keep it in float overnight, to see if it's got enough oomph, if the 6 amps is enough to keep my 4 AGM batteries in float. So we'll see, because sometimes it's just not enough amperage to keep 4 batteries in float. So yeah, that's what I ended up getting. 29 bucks, no tax, because I used my ag exemption. So it says 24 frames per second. Oh, I just threw it on my glasses. So here's something I wanted to point out. I want to wait till the lens readjust. All right, maybe you can see it. So look at the sun, and look at the sun going through the clouds. Now look at this. The rays are going at a pretty harsh angle through those clouds. On this side, at a pretty harsh angle, and then right below the sun, they're straight up and down, and then they're at an angle right there. You probably can't see it because, let me see if I can get the camera to show it. I'm moving the camera around. Maybe eventually you'll see the angles of the sun. And what am I getting at here? Huh? I'm getting at that the sun is very close and small, because that's the facts, Jack. The sun is not huge and 93 million miles away. Solar panels would not work if the sun was that far away. The sun is very close. It's a local event. It's in an enclosed system. And yes, that's why the angles coming through the clouds the way they are. If the sun was 93 million miles away and huge, the light would be coming straight down. It would be very diffused. But you can actually see hot spots on the top of some of these clouds where the sun is shining directly on top of those localized, it's a localized lighting event. And over here, you don't see any hot spots on any of the clouds. Those clouds would be glowing the same amount as these clouds if that thing was 93 million miles away. Because that is only maybe what? Those clouds over there might be 5 or 10 miles away from me, 5 or 10 miles. Okay, and these, look at the hot spots on top of these clouds. If that thing was 93 million miles away, all these clouds would have the same amount of light reflecting on them. Okay, that's it's called perspective. Just start thinking about it. Those lights are coming through the clouds at an angle. And what that does is, you can do this own experiment yourself. Take a flashlight and put some holes in a box, and then you'll see how the lights come out at a different angle. Put smoke in the room, blow some smoke or something if you want. You'll see the light rays going through the holes, and then move the flashlight up and down, and that light will be triangulated. You can actually measure with the angle, with these angles, you could actually triangulate how far up the sun is, and people have done it. Measure the angles, and then how far apart they are, and that'll give you the triangulation on the distance of the sun. All right? I'm too stupid to figure that out, but I just know the fact that the sun is very close and local. I'm not good with math. I'll leave that up to somebody else. But I can see with my own eyes that there's angles coming through the clouds. light rays, which proves that the sun is local and very small and in our enclosed system. So label me whatever you want to label me. I'm just spitting some facts at you. If you can't handle the facts, then you're in the wrong channel. So just telling you some facts there. If you can't handle it, then don't know what to tell you. All right, so like I said, if you just got here, $29, no tax. Use my ag exemption. So, all right, let's do this. We're gonna go to the house. And we're gonna listen to some copyright-free stuff here, whatever's on this thumb drive. I got Poker Face. So here's the stuff I got today. I got 25 foot of, this is for the fuel pump project right here. So I got 25 foot of that. That way I'll have inventory. And then I got these hose clamps here. These are the standard hose clamps. I got a box of 8. All right, so, and I also got, and this is the fuel pump I'm putting on there. Let's hope it's got enough PSI. This came off of a commercial Skag mower. This is why I say Skag has got some good stuff. This came off of a Skag, and look at that fuel pump. And that's a fuel injected Skag. So here's the old lines we're gonna adapt to for the Suburban. That's the existing lines that came off. And I'm gonna cut this off right here to take that angle off. We're just gonna slip the hose on there. I'm not gonna flare the ends and put brake line fittings on it or anything like that right now. I wanna see this work, and then I probably will buy another fuel pump. So I'll have one in the truck. I'll just make sure it works. And that way I can have me a swappable fuel pump if I get stranded again. And I got the O-rings for the ends of these lines. And I did a lot of grocery shopping today. So anyway, we're gonna go back. And so when y'all said it was buffering in there, fucking Prism crashed on me, okay? I'm sick of Prism crashing. Prism sees a little bit of a buffer and it decides to crash. That's crap. All right, so we're gonna do it just like this. I got my seatbelt on, and I lost my glasses. So, did I just break them today? Nope. All right, so I guess yesterday, if you were listening, a good friend of mine died in a car accident. He was a cop, and he was on the way to a job or on the way to work or something. I don't know the details, but they're saying that if he'd have been wearing a seatbelt, he'd still be alive. So I'm gonna make it a point to wear my seatbelt a little bit more. So that's just, it's just the way it is. Yeah, damn it, Jared. All right, so we're gonna take a trip to the house. Go ahead. Yeah, don't buy that piece of junk, dude. Those things are junk. So as you can see, we've been invaded by Mexico, but that's just the way it is. Rarely do you run into somebody that speaks English around here lately. But that's just the way it is. We live in Texas, so we need to make sure there's no cars coming. So see the sun, how close it is? Look how it creates hot spots on the clouds that it's really close to. It's just common sense when you start looking at it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Oh, let's get some RPMs going here. Clean her out a little bit. That's one cool thing about this truck. This old 360 it'll still get up and go. It'll talk to you. Yep, I love this old truck. Wasn't speeding. Yeah, but yeah, I'm a hot rodder. When my friends build hot rods, of course, Jared back in the day, he'd hop up a truck and he'd bring it by. He'd take me for a ride or let me drive it. Brad, he used to let me drive his hot rod, and he said I drove it better than him. That's why he trusts my driving better than his. He said my processor is a lot faster than his, so I could react to it. Hot rods never got out of control for me. I could handle whatever horsepower you give me. I'm gonna keep it out of the ditch, is my point. I can go around corners, full throttle, as long as the thing was tracking like it was supposed to, and it wasn't wet. You know, you're not gonna go off in the ditch. But yeah, I would love to drive for an Indy car for a living, or just for fun. NASCAR would be pretty boring for me, but yeah, I need a challenge. So yeah, I'd be a good Indy car driver. So I wonder if they got a jab or not. Maybe they just got the booster. Yeah. So we got some Natasha playing right now. I was playing Poker Face earlier. I'm getting to the point to where I'm not running my air conditioner a lot in my house. And I've noticed that, seeing how I'm living alone, I don't need the air conditioner on because my body adjusts to the temperature in the house. And here's something I want to rant about. So on the news, I keep hearing the weather guys and the gals saying, feels like temperature. That's the new verbiage they're using. Or heat index. They've been using that one forever. Feels like and heat index. So that means basically the same thing. What they're doing is they're taking the humidity and the actual temperature, and they're coming up with some kind of BS algorithm that tells you a feels like temperature. Well, it feels like that to what? Most females are colder all the time, so they in the wintertime they want it warmer, and then in the summertime the female wants it colder. So especially when they're sleeping. And the optimum temperature that I've researched for sleeping is like anywhere from 68 on the high side to 62 is almost like optimum for really getting some good sleep. But my point is when they say feels like temperature, feels like to who? Because to me, like right now, I'm not even running my air conditioner, and it's probably 89 or 90 degrees in here, and I'm just fine. The other night, whenever I was in Mosh's channel, watching Mosh's the karaoke singers, which was one of the funnest panels I've seen in a while. That one and Lincoln Kane has some of the best panels lately. When it's a girls' night out panel. So anyway, even Sun Honey was on that panel. We're gonna take the long way. Take the long way. All right. So what was I getting at? Oh, so to me, it feels cooler in the summertime than it would to somebody else that's maybe a little bit more weight or something. So the more weight you lose, I've noticed this, the more heat you can handle. So because you have less thermal insulation and your body can get the heat out quicker. So that feels like temperature is a bunch of crap. Feels like what? To who? You can't tell me that's the same. It's just a bunch of crap. Tell me the actual temperature instead of this feels like crap. Because what they're doing is they're jacking with the algorithm of the feels like, and they're making it seem like it's hotter than it should be. That's all they're doing. Instead of telling you the actual temperature. And they didn't start doing this crap until, I think 20 years ago is when they really started pushing this feels like crap. All right, so we're gonna clean this truck out a little bit here. We're gonna see what she's got here when she hits second gear. It's got a pretty good pull on it. See, that was a pretty good kickback right there. And remember, the speedometer is off about 4 miles an hour. Because now it's really starting to talk. I'm having to let off of it because I'm coming up to a truck. But the speedometer is 4 miles an hour off. So I'm actually going 4 miles an hour faster than what it shows, because of the bigger tires that I have on it, and I never recalibrated my speedometer. So, all right, we're clear. This is where a lot of accidents happen. We could just do a whole shot right here from stop. Haven't done one of these in a while. I don't want to break a motor mount, so I just eased into it. So I wasn't going to break a motor mount, but yeah, this thing will get up and go. All right, so now right there, it's stuck. I got it to the floor, and the transmission wouldn't shift. So I just wanted to show you that yes, there is an issue with the electronics in the transmission. You see how it just shutting off the injectors? So what was happening is the rev limiter kicked in, and we can catch us a little tire burning action. This is a 35 mile an hour corner, but I could normally take this a lot faster if there wasn't a car in front of me. But yeah, I've gotten some squealing around this corner before. But anyway, what I was getting at is I need to address that issue with the tranny, because I have to let off the gas when I'm getting on it now to trigger it to shift into second sometimes. I'm gonna have to do some research. I don't think it's my throttle body position sensor. It could be, but I don't know the electronics on this transmission. I don't think it uses vacuum like the old ones do. So you can't adjust your modulator with the vacuum screw like the old Chevys and stuff, Fords. But it really does cut into my hot rodding every now and then. And it recently started that crap. But you know, it is a 98 model. It's got 186,000 miles. And it still runs like new when it comes to the off the line stuff. But yeah, I would love to have an Indy car and take it to the F1 track and just, you know, light it up and feel some G's going around the track. That would be awesome. We used to have a place when I was a kid in Austin where you could drive these little miniature Indy cars, and I can't remember what the place was called, but that was my favorite thing to do as a kid, is to go to Austin. And so we're already here. Here's the property. There's the dried up tank over there. And look, they don't cut the side of the road for me anymore. I have to do their job for them. So I'm just gonna let it grow this year. There's the gate to go in the back of the property. So yeah, they were miniature Indy cars, and there was video games. I think they sold pizza. And I can't remember what it was called. I'm gonna have to go back and look in some history books. But anyway, it's not in Austin anymore. It sucks. There's something kind of like it, but nothing like that one. And that was my favorite thing to do. And I always made good time around that track. The thing that kind of pissed me off though is there was a car that was faster than everybody else's, and they kept that to where people couldn't drive it, because you couldn't really smoke the tires off the line like I wanted, or fishtail it around the corner. So, you know, it was more about just timing the corners better than anything. All right, I'm not gonna put my sun visor on because I'm probably gonna end up going to the grocery store sometime next couple of days, because they didn't have distilled water at the grocery store, which is a bummer. So it's all right. So yeah, I know you probably think I'm crazy, but this truck, I do this a lot, and you know, if the motor ever thrashes, then it means that I shouldn't have done that, right? But I'm gonna hold it down to the I'm just gonna hold the accelerator down and show you what happens here. I'm gonna open the door so you can see it'll hit the rev limiter, and this is what happens when you shift the second. So I'm gonna build up a little oil pressure here before I do it. Now, I know that kind of looks extreme and crazy, but I've done that to this motor since I bought it. I broke this thing in right. And I'm running full synthetic. But this motor is hot. I mean, it runs good. This is a 362. It's not some little small engine. So I'm gonna let it cool off for a second before I kill it, because it's not good to stop it right after you do that. But anyway, that's what's happening when I'm going into second gear. If I keep it to the floor, it just hits the rev limiter like that. So I got to figure out what's not communicating in the transmission to the motor, so that kind of stuff stops. And I can make it shift. All I got to do is just pull off the accelerator just a little bit. But I didn't have to do that back in the day when this thing was brand new. But yeah, there's not a lot of engines that can handle that kind of abuse. And I've sat there before, and probably alcohol involved. At one time I sat there and did that for like 10 minutes. And I cleaned the engine out, that's for sure. But yeah, I would hold it down like that till it hit the rev limiter, and it would just sit there and go wham, 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 wham. And I probably, like I said, I probably did that for 10 minutes. But yeah, they don't make these trucks anymore. There's not a motor that could handle my accelerator, my abuse. They don't make a vehicle that can handle my foot anymore. But you're kind of getting to really see the real me now. That's the way I really am. I'm a heavy foot driver. That's just, I've always been that way. My first vehicle was a 1972 Lincoln Continental I got from the family. It was the family reject, but it had a 460 in it. It had a 460 cubic inch engine in it. So guess what I did all the time? I was hot rodding around the country, and I was probably 10 or 12 years old. Just had my foot in it all the time. And that thing would burn rubber second gear. It would burn rubber. And then it was fun to put transmission fluid on the tire and just do a huge big smoky burnout. Let's see, we need some lights on in here. So I'm probably going to buffer, and I'm going to do my best to switch to an access point here without it crashing. But if it doesn't, we're going to go ahead and play our Poker Face song. And not the one by Lady Gaga. Computer, play Stalker by Poker Face from Plex. Ziggy, TV time. Next. Hey, got Queenie in the chat. Got Truth Junkie. Awesome. All right, I'm going to be wrapping the stream up. I haven't eaten. I've been on a fast. I'm going on like a 26 or 7 hour fast now. So I think it's probably time for me to eat. And I have a big work day ahead of me because I still work for the radio station. I've been too busy to do any radio station work, so I'm wrapping up the stream here, and I'll go back and read all the chat what I do is on these streams where I can't interact with the chat much, is I go back with Nightbot, or I'll just rewatch the stream to read the chat. So if there's anything that I missed, I apologize. Katie, Loud Red, Queenie, We the People, Truth Junkie, somebody new, Good, don't like her, yeah. Terry something, Terry Yaya. So yeah, we're gonna be wrapping the stream up. And I'm down to 145 pounds now. So I'm, another reason why I wanna lose weight is because my right knee is so messed up, just standing on it sometimes. And it was a work injury, but I never got surgery. So I'm going to be eating more stuff with collagen in it, and like chicken broth, bones, and all that kind of crap eventually, and more fats. And my knee is getting slowly better, but there's days that it's just bad, and it has good and bad days. It's just one of the things. When you get 51, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not 51 yet, that's when everything kind of started going to crap when I hit 40. But yeah, if I get less weight, and think about it, the weight that I'm losing is the weight above my knees. So I want to take the pressure off my knee. So, and also I'm losing all the fat around my belly, so I'll have a six-pack pretty soon, so I can impress all the girls, you know, because that's important. All right, so somebody sent me a message. Is it buffering? Maybe I can open this door. I'll just go out here for the ending of the stream. I'm probably buffering like crazy. So now maybe it won't crash. Anyway, the goldfish are happy. And tomorrow will be, tomorrow is no agenda day. So I doubt if I'm going to be streaming before no agenda. But my plan is to have you there when I start the truck. So when I turn the key for the first time, and what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pull the line off on the back of the throttle body, and I'm going to purge it into a 1 gallon jug. I'm going to purge about 1/4 gallon of gas and get all the sediment out of the lines, and then I'll hook it up to the back of the throttle body again, and then I'll see if it'll start. Because I want to see if I'm getting gas flowing to start with, obviously, but I know there's going to be crap in the lines. All right, Truth Junkie says, I just filled my 7.3 up today, and I had a 1/4 tank, $140 later, full 2 propane tanks. I'm full 2 propane tanks, 35 bucks. So, okay, what size tanks are those, Truth Junkie? Because years ago you could fill up a 5 gallon propane tank for like 17 bucks. So if you filled up 2 5 gallons for 32, that's cheap. Mower gas was 15. I'm never leaving the house again. Oh yeah, I spent some money today. I went to China Mart. I spent like 80 something bucks at China Mart, 100 and I think 130 something at HEB grocery store, and then I just spent 30 at Tractor Supply. Oh, and I got gas, and I just put a little gas in there. Put $27 worth of gas, because I don't want to put a lot of gas in my vehicles because I don't drive them enough. So yeah, I don't like it sitting in the tank. So Queenie says PFT. What does that mean? Poofed. Poofed. I don't know what that means. The regular gas grill tank. Yeah, so that's the 5 gallon one. Yeah. So yeah, so that's a good, the propane hasn't gone up then. So you're doing good, Truth Junkie, on your propane. And that's another reason why I want to convert my generator to propane. You can store it and it doesn't go bad. And yeah, it's a little bit more dangerous because it's a pressured system. So you want to make sure you don't have any leaks. But other than that, propane is the way to go for generators and even vehicles for the most part. So Tammy says, stream when you go to the grocery store. I'd like to know what type of meals you eat. Okay, well, I can't stream from the grocery store. I'll give it a shot, but I think the last time I did that, it buffered a lot, just like Tractor Supply, but I'll try it again. I'll jump on their internal network and see if it's more stable. See, Tammy, look at the other streams, and you will find the foods that he eats. Yeah, I think I talked about that on my last stream, as a matter of fact. Look at the stream from yesterday. And I think I talk about the foods I eat, but I don't eat anything that has an ingredients list in it for the most part. So if there's an ingredients list other than cheese and peanut butter and butter. So I eat grass-fed cheese, the organic Smuckers peanut butter, and trust me, I've tried them all, hands down. They set with me better, they taste better, and the product's more consistent than any other peanut butter that I have access to here in this town. So the Smuckers organic, they sell at Walmart. They don't sell it at my grocery store. So I go to Walmart for certain things and the grocery store. So when I go grocery shopping, I have to go to 2 places, but that's not a problem. So I mainly eat now, I haven't been eating sardines lately. I've been really eating a lot more grass-fed beef every day for the most part. And in that grass-fed beef, I put a little sweet potatoes and potatoes in there. I fry them up in the air fryer. And then I'll put cheese on the side, grass-fed cheese, as a little treat while I'm eating. And I'll eat some Moringa. I know I'm not supposed to eat very many vegetables because the more research I do about vegetables, they could be reacting to our bodies the wrong way. But I am eating Moringa. What I do is I just take my hand right here, and I'll just do it just like this. Well, that's not how it really works, but you strip the leaves off the stem like that. And then I put them in a little thing where I just rinse them off. Colander, whatever you call it, strainer. And I rinse them off, dry them for a second, and I eat them just raw like that. I've been eating about a handful a day with my meals to see how my body reacts to it. This is technically the most nutritious plant you can eat in the world. That grows really fast. It's called Moringa. Look up Moringa, the miracle tree, the drumstick tree is another nickname, miracle tree, Moringa. But yeah, you eat the leaves. And so far, I'm not having any, my energy levels are actually increasing. And I'm able to go into my fast longer. So I'm not going to come against eating all green things at this point. I think the reason why a lot of vegetables are getting a bad rap lately is because people are eating other people's vegetables and not their own grown stuff. So I'm going to keep eating Moringa until I see something, you know, with my body that I don't like. Oh, what's going on with my solar panel here? Something's out of whack here. Houston, we got a problem. Yep, I bet it's because of the rain and the ground shifted and my mount's off kilter here. So yeah, that's not supposed to be down there. I'm gonna have to unscrew this and move this down a bit because my solar panels are all jacked up. I'm actually gonna relocate this. This was just temporary. I'm gonna add 2 more panels to the front of each one of these arrays. So I'm gonna put 1 more panel here, 1 more panel there, there. So each array, and I'm gonna redo this. Right now I have these are in series, those are in series. So that's, each one's positive, negative to series. This one's positive, negative, those are series. And then I parallel that series together. So it's technically looking like 2, I parallel them together. And what that does is that gives me more amps going in, but a lower voltage. And that's not optimum, but that's just the way I had to do it at the time. So I'm gonna add another 2 panels on the front of each one of these and series 6 together, and that will go just to 1 charge controller, and then I'll have 6 panels here, and that'll go to another charge controller, and then I'll be able to hook up my junky panels to another charge controller. So I'm going to be able to make a lot more power, and I'll be coming into the house with a lot higher voltage. But I know I tangented on that when we were talking about food, but my main food intake again is grass-fed beef, cheese. Like last night, I eat it cold sometimes, and then maybe I'll put 2 eggs on the side. But like last night I was in a hurry, I ate cold beef, and that's what I'm going to eat tonight, just cold right out of the fridge. And then I'll have Moringa on the side with some cheese and a little bit of agave mayonnaise, just to dip the cheese in with black pepper. So I put a lot of black pepper on the avocado mayonnaise, and I dip the cheese in it, and that's kind of like a side treat. So, and that's what I eat for the most part. And then sometimes I'll switch it up. I'll have tuna. It's the cleanest tuna I can find. And the pickles I eat are not toxic. Look at all your pickle ingredients, and they all have food coloring and bad stuff in them. So you don't want to be eating pickles. Those are really toxic. Why are they putting yellow food coloring in pickles? I don't remember doing them that way years ago. This is something new they started. How much for solar panels? Let's see, how much for solar panels. So these are Rich solar panels. These are the ones that I like to buy. It's by a company called Rich Solar, R-I-C-H. And I usually buy them 2 at a time because they are packaged better than if you buy them separate. But right now they're out of the twin set. So if you were going to buy it by itself, you're going to spend like 90 something bucks per panel, 97. I was getting 2 solar panels for 180 something bucks about a year or 2 ago. But see, I don't need more solar panels right now. I just need to hook up the ones that I currently have, because this is what I'm getting at. The reason why I'm doing that array is because I have all these panels I need to hook back up, because I decommissioned these panels years ago. So I got 2 panels here. One of them, or maybe both of those are going to go on the solar cart, because I'm going to I'm probably going to turn this into a 48 volt cart, because I want it to do wheelies. So those 2 are probably going to go on this cart here. So it'll be a 48 volt cart. But these panels here, there's 1, 2, 3 right there. There's another one there. And then there's 2 in the back of the truck that I'm going to put out here somewhere in another array. I just don't want it to look too crusty. I know I don't have to worry about the spousal acceptance factor anymore. But if I ever do get a female back in my life, I don't want her to kind of completely freak out about the way the house looks. So I'm going to make it look nice, whatever I do, so it passes the spousal acceptance factor. I know the inside of the house doesn't, but that's okay. But in a perfect world for me, a relationship would be like she would live across the street, and that way we'd never get tired of each other. I know that sounds horrible, but yeah, maybe I've had bad experiences with my last relationship, and maybe I'm projecting on future ones, but I don't need to go there. All right, where is the freedom protest? Mac says, I fast for freedom every day, so I'm protesting all the time. When I talk about NASA lying, the sun is actually a close local event, and the earth is a flat stationary thing. That's my protest against NASA. I vote with my dollar every day. That's my protest against the Federal Reserve. I eat clean as I can. That's a protest against having the freedom of taking a bike ride and not being caught up in Big Pharma's crap. So I'm protesting against Big Pharma there. I produce my own power when I can. So I'm doing my best to, you know, I know that solar panels are not clean. I'm not doing it because of that. I'm doing it because I want to have my own power. I produce my own water with the water well. So I'm protesting against that system that might control you. I protest all day long. So as far as these freedom fighters out there, the last one was a pretty big shit show. The People's Convoy to me was great. I don't like the way it ended. I really had my heart behind it, and my passion was there, but I don't see any other, quote, movement taking any traction at this point. So my new focus on my channel is for health and wellness, and you need to vote with your dollar and vote local. Okay, we're not going to save ourselves with voting with these presidents every 4 years. So vote with your dollar and vote local, and that's where it matters. Vote with your health. Your health is your wealth. So I got tons of things I protest about every day, and I don't need to be part of a group or an organization or give it a label, but every day of my life is a protest. And I'm not afraid to say that that sun is very close and local, because I know with conviction that we live on a flat stationary plane. And if you think otherwise, you haven't looked into it. We're being lied to about everything. I know that that's geoengineering, and they were spraying earlier, and all that stuff, that powdery crap up there is from the geoengineering they're doing. They're altering the weather. So we can't have a conversation about the world warming, and we can't call it global warming because we don't live on a frickin' ball. We don't live on a globe. You can say the climate is changing, but the climate always changes. So just know that all these same people that are complaining about the quote climate change never talk about geoengineering ever. Greta Thunberg, Al Gore, all these shills for the system never talk about the geoengineering that's happening, because they're part of the clique. Okay, they're part of the, they're in a big club and we're not in it. And I thank God every day that I'm not in their club, because I couldn't sleep with myself. But yeah, that's all geoengineering. They've been doing that all day. And now it kind of looks like what they call high clouds. So if you listen to your local meteorologist, they call these high clouds now. And they'll say, oh, high clouds are moving in. Yeah, we're being sprayed like bugs. They want us to eat bugs. And we're being lied to about everything. That's my protest. I don't see too many people out there talking about that we live on a stationary flat plane. Too many people are afraid to speak the truth, and I'm not afraid. The sun is a very small and localized event. These are facts. If you can't handle it, then you're watching the wrong stream. So I'm just telling you, you're going to hear truth here, and you're not going to hear propaganda. I'm not here to sell you a DVD. I'm here to give you a little bit of freedom. When it comes to your health, when it comes to your wealth, you're going to get freedom here. So the only bad thing about this truck being so tall, and I took the big tires off so it would be easier to get in and out of, and I could drive it around the streets without it, just because I had 38 Super Swampers on here. You can tell how big the tires were. Look how they bent up the fenders. Look at this. This side was even worse. So I came off of a jump and I was doing some tricky stuff. I can't remember what I was doing. I was jumping this thing through a ditch, and look at what happened. So the tire, you know, imagine the 38 Super Swampers. It grabbed this and ripped it up. So that, and it bent this right here on both sides. I hit pretty hard, but you know, I drive this thing like a tank, because it is a tank. You know, what's the point? That's why I love this old truck. It can take the abuse, and I've hit ditches really hard. Yeah, you got to wear your seatbelt when you're riding with me in this thing. But yeah. Anyway, the bad part about working under the hood on this truck is you got to have a ladder. So I'll be out here with a ladder tomorrow when I start streaming, and I got to take the I'm gonna have to take the air cleaner off and all that stuff. And then the fuel line should come in on the right side, I think. I think it comes in right back there. Yep. So I'm going to have to take the fuel line on the back of the throttle body off. And I'm going to have to rig up some kind of piping system with a bigger tube. And I'll put my jug down here. So that way I can flush out my line sets. And that way I'm not putting trash into my fuel injection system. Because I rebuilt this whole throttle body probably about 10 years ago. Put new injector. I've rebuilt the whole thing. It's got 2 injectors that spray on the top. And you can buy the injector kits. Rebuilding a fuel injection dual throttle body, the old T-Bow, is way easier than a carburetor. And I used to rebuild carbs for the local auto parts store. I would go in there, and that's how I made side money when I was a kid. I was actually the guy that rebuilt the carburetors. I was doing that when I was a kid. So I've always had a knack for carbs and electronics. I got my battery tender on here, so it's not sitting here going bad. So yeah, I hope this thing comes to life tomorrow. Another thing I've done with this truck recently is I redid all the connections. So that's the reason why you look at the firewall junction box. Everything's shiny. I redid all the grounds and all the connections on this thing. So I wouldn't have any light dimming issues or electronics. See, look at this. This is a grounding spot. Look how shiny that is. Took everything off, cleaned the connections, ground it down to the metal. Boom, done. So right there is the fuel pump relay, I'm pretty sure. That's the fuel pump relay. I think I'm pretty sure about that. I'm gonna have to look into it, but that's probably where I'm gonna pull power from. If that pump works, I'll tap into the power and run a little bit heavier gauge back to that fuel pump. And then I'll just cut the wires so the in-tank fuel pump's not pulling any current. But I'm pretty sure that's the fuel pump relay on the firewall right there. So yeah, I'll be messing with that tomorrow. And I will also be messing behind the throttle body. This is an old 350, 91 model. I think 90 or 89 was the first year they did fuel injection. For some reason, for the longest, I thought this was the first year they did fuel injection, but the more people I run into that have these older trucks, the 89 is the models that they're telling me that still has fuel injection. I put the smaller steering wheel. This is the cool thing about these older trucks. They have real tilt wheels, and you can tilt it with one hand. You can't do that with the new truck. So what I say is you can grab down here in the steering wheel, and you can tilt it with one hand. You can't do that with the new trucks. The new trucks don't have tilt wheel. None of them have tilt wheels. That's another reason why I won't buy a new vehicle. None of them had tilt wheels. The whole column comes down, and it's a different way. It doesn't tilt the same. This is a completely different geometry, and it's way easier to adjust. The new ones, you got to mess with those stupid levers, and it's a two-handed ordeal. This one's still one-handed tilt. There was nothing wrong with that. So I got a vacuum gauge coming off the back of my idler control valve. I did that just for fun because I was doing some troubleshooting. And I also have another vacuum gauge coming off the manifold right there on the left. And then I put a tachometer right there. I used to have a computer in here back in the day. The screen was right here. That's why I moved this back. This is actually moved back about 4 inches. And that's where I had the computer screen. That's why this console is sitting back so far, but I'm going to keep it that way. I like it. I also raised the seat. So the problem with Chevys, and it is a problem with Chevys, a buddy of mine welded up these, cut these plates out, Brad did, and I drilled holes for switches in here so I can put switches on the bottom here. I know you can't see that, but I extended the seat up about 4 inches. And what I did on the front was this plate, because I'm a short body, long-legged person. So my body's short, my legs are long. So I look like a little kid when I drive some of the Chevy trucks. Not the Dodge, but the Chevy. And on the back, I used some, I think this is 2-inch tubing, and then motor mounts. So I had these motor mounts off of my, I think they came off of my 65 Chevy. I think these are my 65 Chevy old motor mounts. Yeah, so these came off my 65 Chevy, and then I got some 2-inch tubing, and then I put rubber right here on isolators on these bolts. So the seat has a little bit of isolation, so you don't really get any vibration on the back side. It's isolated. So yeah, motor mount, 2-inch tubing, and then rubber isolators. So I raised the back up, I think, closer to 4 or 5 inches. It's got a little bit of a rake on it, but yeah. Love this truck. Can't wait to get it going again. And of course the system is awesome in it. It jams. Oh, and then this is the switch for my torque converter. So this has got the locking torque converter. And whenever you, we'll just turn it, well, I don't have the key. But anyway, I modded my transmission, my valve body. The wiring was all screwed up. Whoever rebuilt this transmission screwed up the wiring. So I bypassed all the locking torque converter because it wasn't working right. So I actually rigged up my own power. So when I flip this switch, this red LED comes on, and I know my torque converter's locked. So I can drive around with my torque converter locked when the red LED is on, or unlocked. And that took me a long time to wire up and figure out, because I had to gut the valve body, valve body of the transmission, and pull out all the stupid wiring that's series through all the different little solenoid valves, and bypass all that crap. And this is my fog lights. Let's see if they're hooked directly to the battery. I can't remember. Do they go through the switch? Yeah, they go through the switch. So I got those hooked through the switch. Those are the fog lights. What other kind of mods have I done on this thing? I've rewired the stereo. I've gone through the whole drivetrain, because it was jacked up when I got it. Oh, I added speakers up here just to be a jackass. So these came out of a TV. These are old TV speakers, so it's kind of like a center channel. It really is funny the way the imaging is in this truck. And I added speakers in the dash so I could get some, the sound stage. I wanted to bring it up because the sound stage in this truck when I got it was really low. Some asshole had put these door speakers in here. Never do that. If you're gonna put door speakers in something, put them up higher. The sound stage is way too low. It sounded like shit. So some asshole did this before I got the truck. But if you're gonna do speakers, put them up here or put them in your kick panels. The best thing to do is not do low like that because your sound stage is too low. Put them in the dash. Sounds better, like my Dodge. Of course, my Dodge has got speakers in the door. It's got pillar tweets. And the sound stage is awesome in my Dodge truck, the one we just got out of. The sound stage on this one's a little bit low, but it, you know, I did bring it up with putting the TV speakers up there and putting center channel and left and rights. I got a center channel and left and rights in this truck. And then there's some speakers back here and these doors, which also keeps the sound stage low, but it's okay. And there's also speakers in the very back. I don't know if you can see that. And I don't remember if I hooked those up or not. I'll have to check that out. And of course, powering the subs is all this fun stuff right here. See if I can do this with one hand. Nope. All right, so y'all are gonna go wonky for a second. So this is what powers the subs right here. So it's a kicker. Let me see if I can get this to focus. I think it's 700 watts. Yeah, 700.5. So it's got a base sub channel. The 0.5 is the sub channel. I think that's what that is because it's got a crossover. And this puppy right here will make those 12s talk. And they do speak loudly. And it also runs my mids. So this runs my mids, tweets, and my two 12-inch subs in the back. And the cool thing about this truck is that it's so long that the bass actually forms before it gets to your ears. So it's formed bass, it's mature bass, it sounds awesome. So yeah, this is the nice amplifier here. I do want to add another amp and 2 more subs eventually, but that is not priority right now. So, yeah, there's that. So yeah, I'm tangenting on the truck because I'm giving it some good mojo because it's going to be running tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping. And I've done other mods to this truck, like the vent tube. The biggest problem, here's another thing that people don't know about. The biggest problem with a lot of trucks that do mud running is the vent tube will get clogged up with mud, okay? And you won't be able to, you won't notice it until your rear end starts leaking. What it does is the oil will expand and it'll push it out to your front seal. And I was always having a front seal leak because this tube was always getting mud in it. So what I did is I took a filter and I drilled some holes in the bottom of one of these plastic filters, and then it doesn't allow the mud to get up in there. It'll just plug up one of the 2 holes. And now it's got a fuel filter. That's a fuel filter on my tube, and it's a clear tube instead of black, so you can also see the line. And I haven't had it plug up since. Also modded the exhaust. That's my muffler. And the cat has been, and here's the cat. It's been gutted right there. So there's the catalytic converter. So it's been, all the BBs have been pulled out of there. Truck runs better without that bullshit. A lot better without the restriction. It was running like crap until I took the BBs out of the cat. And that's the old style cats where they put the little balls in there. And I've done other mods, like I said. I can talk about that tomorrow when we get it running. But we'll do a 1-hour stream. I'm going to start reading the chat real quick. I'm going for a windshield tint tomorrow. Top and bottom. No more fishbowl. Cool. Make sure they hate doing this, but if you're doing window tint, make sure they put you across the brow. And there's a mark. I know you know this, Truth Junkie, but some people don't. But I know you know this. There's a mark on your windshield that will tell, for the most part, on the older trucks, they had them too, how far you can go down with your window tint. This one has a pre-sprayed, it's built into the glass. Okay, here's your mark right here. So here's the mark, so they can put window tint legally right there. There's the mark, it's built into the glass. And you see this was factory. So this was built into the glass. But if you're gonna get window tint, I always go, and here's something that I did. I did my own window tint. We had our own little window tint stereo car audio thing back in the day. I would come down with my brow like right here. And yeah, I caught hell from the cops. Back then, you know, if you weren't pissing off the cops, then you weren't getting the job done, right? But yeah, I had a lot lower brow because it just makes the truck cooler on the inside. And I'm not talking about cool, man. I'm talking about temperature cool. What else did I have to fix on this truck? Oh, when I got this truck, it was overheating and running cold. Hot and cold, hot and cold. Some jackass had taken the thermostat out, and they also put the belt around the water pump backwards. So the water pump was running backwards, literally, and there was no thermostat. So it took me a second to figure out what the hell they did. Immediately I pulled the thermostat, and then I started realizing, wait a minute, this belt is not wound right. So they had it put on the truck wrong. And you can make this water pump run backwards if you run the belt the wrong way. And that's what they had done. So it's almost like the guy that sold it to me was trying to get the truck to burn up. Like he was trying to jinx it. But the engine never overheated to the point where it boiled the water, but the temperature would go up and down, which is not good for an engine. It took me a little bit to figure out exactly the nonsense going on with this truck. And I've replaced all the bushings and these shocks within the last 2 or 3 years because they were all just metal to metal. And the stabilizer on the steering system, I replaced all those bushings. That is a job, by the way. That was a job, pressing those in there and getting the old ones out. Getting them out was not that hard because most of them were thrashed out. But putting them in, boy, I had to rig up some systems to get that to work. What else have I done? Some rear end work on the U-joint. And I did some steering column stuff. They didn't have this installed correctly because with the lift kit, this is all different and this is different. So this is different as well. They didn't even have that tuned right. Just everything about this truck has been gone through, and it runs. When it was running, it'll start right up like a, you know, boom, like it should. Fry mods, yeah, there's a lot of mods on this truck. I'd mod everything, but if you're not modding it, it's not yours, right? Let's see. Katie says, le not, yeah, my bad, sorry. I don't know what you're saying. I'm glad you rescued the Suburban. Yeah, it was. I got this Suburban. Here's a story. I found it on Craigslist. And I was looking for a Suburban just like this, but without a lift kit. Because I didn't want it to be lifted because people don't do it right. But I found this one. Smell something burning. Hold on a second. Smell something burning. It's not coming from in the house. It smells like, So anyway, I got this truck for $1,000, and I traded in my Honda 350. So I traded my four-wheeler and $1,000 for that truck. And the guy that I got it from lived in Killeen. I'm just gonna see if somebody's burning a barbecue pit or something back here. Yeah, that's what I smell. It's coming from back here. Yeah, so somebody's starting a barbecue pit. You always gotta make sure. Anyway, so he wanted $5,000 for the truck. And I was like, no way, I'm not giving you $5 for the Suburban. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $1,000 for the Suburban and my four-wheeler. And that four-wheeler at the time was worth a pretty good chunk of money. $350, had a clutch. It was a little screamer. You could ride wheelies in second, and the front end would almost stay up in third gear. And it's a good thing I sold it, because I was going to, you know, between that and my 660 Raptor, I was going to end up killing myself or in the hospital. But anyway, I got that truck for $1,000 in a four-wheeler that I didn't ride anymore. Now, I put a ton of work into it, though. I'm talking a ton to get it where it is. It was a piece of shit when I got it. It was barely made it home. It barely made it home. Between the front end, it was all over the road, and the motor was missing out. It was hot and cold. It was just a sloppy ride. The guy didn't even have the right amount of air in the tires. He had like 20 PSI in a couple and maybe 30 in another one. So yeah, here's the deal I made with him. I said, okay, if you can drive it to the south side parking lot, you got a deal. So the truck made it to the south side parking lot, and I figured, okay, if the truck can make it that far, then sold. But yeah, I've gone through the valve body and the transmission. I've readjusted all kinds of pressure levels because it was slipping a little bit. I've modded the locking torque converter so I can lock it on command now, or I can drive around town without the torque converter locked. And that's what I do for the most part. If I'm out on the highway, I'll lock the torque converter. If I'm not, I leave it unlocked. And yeah, you lose a little bit of mileage and performance when you don't lock your torque converter. But it's cool where I've never really seen anybody do that mod before, so that was a cool mod. Let's see, what kind of burn smell? Yeah, I think it's a barbecue pit at this point. It's not electrical. It seems like it's coming from over here. But yeah, it's more coming from the front yard, really. It's stronger here. It's weird. I'm gonna walk out in the street before I end the stream to see if it's stronger there. Kind of weird though. It's like it's most right where I was standing is the strongest. Huh. Very interesting. I have a nose. When I'm riding my bike, I can smell people's cars when they drive by. Their stinky perfumes and all that crap. I have one of those senses where I can just smell everything. MM says, beautiful truck, would probably drive better if you lowered it a bit. Oh, of course. But if I lowered it, I would have to, I'd have to find me an old Suburban and rip out the drivetrain on the old Suburban. You can't lower this current lift kit. You can't just take leaf springs out. That's not the way it works. So yeah, I'd have to find a junker Suburban. And I've been looking for that because I really don't need it to be this high. I never wanted it to have the lift kit like this. I wanted it to have a little bit of lift, but not a 10-inch lift. You know, that's just way too high. But it comes in handy whenever you're going over ditches and stuff. So, and if it's flooding outside, which I've crossed some pretty high waters, not fast flowing, so don't freak out, but high waters, yes, in this truck where the water was up to. Now back then when I did it, I had the 38 Super Swampers, so it was up higher, but the water was coming up here, right here to the bottom of the door, with the when I had the Super Swampers, but it was flowing really slow, so it wasn't like I was going to get swept off the road. I've crossed some bridges in my time where it's a 91 Suburban. I've crossed some bridges in my time to where my rear end did lose traction. Scared the crap out of me. But I knew when I would slide off the road, I was just going to go into the pasture. So it's not like I'd float down a river somewhere. It was on our own farmland. So before everybody freaks out, it would have been just fine for my truck to be stuck out in the pasture. But it was on a main road, on the county line road. All right, so I think I've answered all the questions for now. Just replace the windshield. It has like a 10-inch brow. Okay, well then you're covered. Let's see, Truth Junkie. Let's see. I love all of your trucks. Sell them. Sell me that 65 Chevy. Damn it. No, man. No, and that's, when this thing gets running, I'm immediately going to go replace the fuel pump on the 65, because that's all it's stopping it from running. It'll start right now, but the fuel pump diaphragm is dry, and it won't stay running once the carb runs dry. So I just need to replace the fuel pump on the 65, and I'm thinking about putting fuel injection on it, because it does have a vapor lock issue in the summertime. When you start, when I'm doing a lot of shopping around town, the start and stop, it floods out, and that's the nature of those vapor carbs. They do that, especially when they're old. Let's see, read my last comment, please. I know it isn't for sale, but give me a price, please. No, I'm not selling the 60. Okay, trust me, my neighbor, a friend of mine that builds hot rods, wants to buy that 65 from me. He talks about it all the time. He wants to make it an electric truck, and he's a gas guy, but he wants to do an electric conversion on that 65. And I'm not going to let that happen, because the 65 is in perfect condition. Why take a truck like that and then tear it down and put an electric motor in it whenever you could find a junker to do that too that's not working? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I do want to do a rat rod electric conversion one day, but I need to find the truck that's got a good drivetrain, but no, the motor's blown or something in it. Let's see, give me a price, money talks. I look, man, you're trying to get me when I'm a little bit vulnerable right now. When it's close to the end of the year, I need property tax money, and I need to put a roof on the house, but it's not going to work. Nope. MM says beautiful truck. Yeah, okay, I already got that one. Yeah, Mojo says on the dark side. I don't know what that means. What did I miss here? Fuel pump may help with the vapor lock. Well, it's always had that vapor lock issue, and I've been putting the same old diaphragm fuel pumps on there. I at one time had an electronic fuel pump on the 65, and I have it around here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it was too much pressure for it, and I didn't run a return line. And I didn't run a return line back to my tank. So anyway, yeah, I've done some fun stuff. But I was using the electronic fuel pump for the most part just to prime the carb. But there would be times where I'd forget to turn the pump off. So you know what happens when that's the case. Gas comes shooting out the top of the carb. So yeah, I don't know what I did with that electronic fuel pump. Okay. Just watched the earlier part of this stream, says Judy H. Talking about the sun. Talking about the sun and the clouds. Would be nice to do a whole show on it, on geoengineering. Well, I will. If people want me to start talking about the lies of NASA and the weather modification geoengineering and what actually our world is, with real scientific measurements and perspective, I'll do a stream about it or two. Maybe I'll focus on it once a month. Let's see. Yes, Sarah, I mod everything. Yes, everything has been micified or fryified. Yeah. Fry mods, no pun intended. It's definitely, everything has got fry mods. All right, Nebraska, USA says, Katie back. I'm just kind of scrolling through the chat. All right, I wanted to do at least a 1 hour stream, 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I still have, shit, what time is it? I still have my work to do for the radio station, and it's a big work day. I might be really screwing up here. What time is it? Please tell me I got a couple hours. Shit. All right, I barely got enough time to get my work done because my log starts an hour early. So I'm probably not going to be able to eat today, but that's okay. I'll just go into a fast. I'll just drink some tea. That's all right. love you all. I got to get to work. Yeah, I'd like to hear the lies, says Nebraska. All right, well, I'll focus on that. Get an old Folgers can to keep it cool, local. Yeah, I guess you're talking about the fuel pump maybe, or the fuel lines. I don't know. You had to replace the existing one. Could run cool. Yeah, I might end up putting a fuel injection system on the 65, but they're all, the good ones are about $800 and to $1,200, and they do make 1-barrel systems, pretty sure. All right, yeah, sell me that 65. Give me the price. If I gave you the price, you'd laugh at me. What I want for it. All right, love you all. I don't have time to end the stream with, I'm running out of time. I got to get my work done. Folgers can with ice. Yeah, right? Yeah, I guess that's what they used to do back in the day. Patriot operator, you need to match the tires and lift. It looks like, no, I gave away my old tires and wheels. It used to look good. I used to have it matched. I gave away my Super Swampers. Yeah, I gave those away, as crazy as that sounds, to my neighbor, because I wasn't using them. I don't want them on the truck. I don't care about the looks. I'm function over fashion. I'll say this all the time. I'm function over fashion. It rode like shit with the Super Swampers on there. It was a bouncy, rough ride. You can't balance mud tires like that. These are at least balanceable. I don't care how it looks. I'm eventually probably going to put some road tires on that thing and take the mud grips off. I'm probably going to put those back on the 80 model white Chevy, as a matter of fact, and then put some good Michelins on that truck so it rides good. I don't care about the looks. I don't give a shit about that. I'm not taking it to a, even if I take it to a car show, I don't give a shit what people think. So yeah, that's the way I think. It's function over fashion. And I took the big 38 Super Swampers off of there. It looked better with it. Of course it looked better with it. But yeah, maybe find some stock springs, and yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, I'd have to find the whole drivetrain. Like if I'm gonna do that, I can't just replace, I have to redo everything, because then I'll have to redo the front end and the drive shaft, because everything's been extended for that lift kit. I have to redo my whole drivetrain. I'm not really concerned about that. Like I said, I don't care if it looks like it's got small tires. Those tires are not small. Let me turn on the light before I kill the stream. Now y'all are pissing me off. All right. These are big tires. If you put these tires on a regular truck, they're actually pretty big tires. Turn on the light. These are not small tires. It's got that much of a lift on it. It's got a 10-inch lift just on the suspension. All right? So, just deal with it. These are big tires. These are not small tires. They're already big tires. Let's go stand up beside it. These tires right here come up to the bottom of my pocket. Right here on me. That's how big they are. To the bottom of my pocket. That's how big these tires are. So it's just the truck has that much of a lift on it. I don't give a shit about that. So a lot of people, oh, the truck looks funny. I don't care. You drive the damn thing to Austin with 38 Super Swampers on it, and then drive it with these tires on it and tell me which way you want to go. The truck was not street legal, technically, with those Super Swampers. It was just hopping all around the road. You can't balance tires that big. So as soon as I took those off there, it was a whole new truck. It still rides rough, but the tires are not sitting there bouncing around. All right. Was your refrigerator is open? What the hell are you talking about? Are y'all messing with me? My fridge is not open. Y'all are just pissing me off now. All right, so yeah, I need to get to work. I still have to work for my for the radio station, and I'm running out of time. I thought the same thing, haha. All right. I guess y'all are just talking about the truck, how it looks funny now. I don't care. Trailer tires. Just go big. Yeah, I gave away my big tires to my neighbor. Okay, I gave them away. I could have probably sold them for 800 bucks, but he's a good guy. We do each other favors. And I told him if I ever want them back, he'd sell them back to me. All right, love you all. I got to get to work. Big work day for me. And I'll be streaming tomorrow when I'm working on this truck. I don't know what time, though. It's not going to be early. If it is early, it'll be rare that I get up that early. Later, Judy, Patriot, whoever's in the chat, Truth Junkie, Coda, 067, William Roach, I'm sure Loud Red may be hanging out in Katy, and MM, Patriot Operator, Sun Honey, maybe Cowboys Mosh is lurking, maybe Lincoln Kane's even lurking, but usually it's he's in Australia, so that's not possible. They make 37s radial tires. Oh yeah, so I want to lose my torque off the line with 37s. You know, I don't like big tires. I don't like big tires. I'm practical, okay? All those tires, they don't do you anything good for your suspension. You lose your torque and everything. Big tires are not an asset for a truck that you just want to drive down the road. So I've been there and done that. I've had plenty of farm trucks. Big tires is not the way to go. All right, all they do is tear up your front end suspension. Everything's out of balance. Your bearings are working harder. Your brakes are working harder. Everything works harder. All right, Truth Junkie says, don't go. See my offer. See that 65 cash money. Where's your offer? I don't see an offer. See my offer. Truth Junkie, see my offer. Truth Junkie. I'm scrolling up. Okay. My offer is $15,000 grant. No, you're not ain't even coming close, man. Like I said, that truck is in great shape for 65. Sorry, it's not for sale. Now, if you offer me, you have to get my attention, but that doesn't get my attention. Love you all.